You're in the middle of 4 more hours of your life that you won't get back. Tradin Paint.
Sirius XM NASCAR Radio.
All right, 3.5 minutes after the hour, heading into our third hour on this Tuesday already. It's just rolling along because we are here at the NASCAR Hall of Fame, Charlotte, North Carolina, the hub of this sport. Next couple of weeks, of course, we've got All-Star Race Weekend upcoming. We've got 600 weekend to follow. But alongside all of that, big event this weekend, Sunday, the John Deere Dealers 250 NASCAR Nationwide Series heads to Iowa Speedway. And a guy who has injected himself solidly into the championship discussion, our pal Reed Sorenson, who drives for Turner Motorsports in their number 32 Dollar General Chevrolets in action coming up Sunday at Iowa. Welcome back to the show. How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you?
We are great. Congratulations on crossing the line third at Dover on Saturday. How was that finish from your vantage point?
It was good. It was obviously pretty wild there at the end with that big wreck that happened. But for us, it was a pretty exciting day. We got in a little bit of trouble about halfway through the race and had to race our way back from the back of the pack all the way back to the front. So team did a great job and was pretty happy with that finish.
Hey, Reed, I want to go back to that last lap, the last lap that we saw run under green. You guys coming through there, and I don't know how far back you were, probably maybe far enough that you didn't see the crash itself, but when you came down through there, it had to be a lot of stuff in front of you.
Well, I actually saw the 20. I saw him getting to the wall, but it was kind of hard to see, if he was going to stay against the wall or kind of bounce off of it. And then once I saw the 33 get into him, I knew I needed to try to go high. So luckily I was able to slip in there, right behind Kyle and just kind of followed him through the wreck. And I think he got a little damage and I didn't.
And based on all of that, and of course the circumstances at the end a little wild, a little different, how about your race team? Do you feel like you're getting closer? Now you're just 10 behind Elliott Sadler for the lead, second overall in nationwide points. I mean, do you come out of there thinking, okay, we're right on the cusp of something great, or do you feel like you still have work to do as a race team?
Well, Dover was a really good weekend for us. Right off the truck, our car was really good, and that was a brand-new race car that we hadn't used anywhere before. And I was real happy with the way it was right off the truck, and we tuned it in really well. We made a few changes even after practice before the race, and I think those were great. And, we were running, I think, around fourth or fifth when we damaged the nose, or I damaged the nose on pit road. And we had to fix that and then started the tail end of the field, and we were able to drive all the way back up into the top five, before that caution with 3 laps to go. I think we were running fifth. And that just showed, I think, how good a car we had, and that's definitely the best car we had probably in the last 4 or 5 weeks, so I was pretty happy with that.
Now, Reed, the best I can remember, and I watched that race, did you apologize to those guys before you got to the pit stall, or did you apologize to them when you were sitting there? But I remember you turned the nose of that thing up a little bit, and the guys getting her done, they were out there working on it just wide open, but you did apologize to them. You told them you were sorry for getting a little bit of damage on that thing.
Yeah, I wasn't too happy with myself. It was, something if I had to redo it, I do not know what I would do different. But it was something that just happened, and the thing that made me more upset is because I knew how fast a race car we had, and I knew we had a top 5 car for sure, and for something silly like that to happen, and at that point in time I didn't know if it was gonna ruin our day or what it was gonna do, but luckily we got tape on it and it covered up the holes, and the car still ran great. So I was definitely happy at the end of the day that I was able to get it back up there and kind of redeem myself.
Reed Sorenson with us on the hotline. He will saddle up for Turner Motorsports at Iowa Speedway Sunday afternoon, the John Deere Dealers 250 here on Sirius XM NASCAR Radio. This is a place where I think you've only run one previous time, and it wasn't your most successful day, let's say. What is it about Iowa? Is it just that you're not familiar enough with the place, or to this point you haven't had enough laps there? Or what do you go in there thinking and get done this week?
Well, last year I didn't, get to practice or do anything like that. I just showed up and raced, and the car was really good in the race. I think we started close to 30th and got up into the top 10, and in a short amount of laps, and then we blew a right front tire, and that definitely didn't feel good. So I think we only ran 40 laps before that happened, so I didn't get to run near as long as I wanted to, but I feel like that's a racetrack that's, similar to a place like Richmond, except it's obviously a little bigger. I think it's 7/8 versus a 3/4. And there's multiple grooves there, and I've watched the truck race there, and, I watched the Nationwide race there, and you can run, the second groove up or right on the bottom. So I think, looking at this being a day race, I think there's going to be a lot of slipping and sliding, and whoever can get their car to work good after 20, 30 laps, I think it's going to be good.
Reed, we were talking about this a few minutes ago here on the show. You got to feel pretty daggone confident going in out there with Turner Motorsports. You guys, as far as the team, you've already been able to win a race this year. Everybody's got to look around and go, we know we can do this. We've just got to put it together this week, maybe a week that you can do that.
Yeah, I mean, taking what we've learned this year so far and what we know we can do, like I say every week, I mean, we still have a long way to go to where this team can be as a whole. But, definitely going into Iowa, there's no reason that we shouldn't have a good shot to win. And that's with any of our teams, not just my team or myself, but I think everybody at this organization feels like they have a shot to win each and every week. And, Iowa is definitely going to be a place where we should be able to get up front and, hopefully all of us are up front, and then that, makes our chances even better. But should be a good weekend for us.
I sure hope it works out that way. I remember you talked to us, I think, from Iowa several weeks ago when you were out there for Goodyear testing tires for this event. So are they planning to bring a much different tire package this time around from what they used last year? And if so, why do you think? Is that just because of the new configuration of the race car, or is it pretty much the same tire that you were on there last year?
Well, I know which tire they are bringing just because of the when we were up there, they told me which one they were going to probably bring back, and I don't know what tire they had last year, so I don't know if it's different or close to the same. But myself and Todd Bodine, I think both really like the tire that they're bringing, so I think that's a good thing. The track's going to be a lot different. I think I looked at the forecast; it's going to be in the mid 80s there on Sunday, and when we were testing, I think it was mid 40s. So it's going to be a lot different, a lot hotter, and I'm sure the track will be a lot slicker than we were there. So hopefully the tire works out. And like I said, it's the same tire that Todd Bodine and I both liked, and seemed like it would be the best for racing and for drop off and everything like that. So we'll see.
Reed, what happens when your car's not handling and you move around on that racetrack? Why is it that track that's designed like that, with that progressive banking, you can move a little bit and change everything? You can make your car go from really, really handling bad to really handling good. Why does that happen like that?
Well, even when we were there tire testing, they make us do, I think we were doing 30 and 40 lap runs, and throughout the run you could move around and kind of change your car. On new tires, the bottoms seem to be really good, which is pretty common in most places. And once you start slipping and sliding, usually you can move up, and that helps the car. It's a little bit easier on the tires, I think. Just coming off the corner, you're a little bit straighter. You don't have quite as much wheel in it, so you're not abusing the tires quite as much. And it seems like you can just be a little bit more consistent once you move up a groove or two grooves or whatever. So I think you'll see. Us running all over. There'll probably be 2 or 3 different grooves, especially on long runs. So it should be a pretty exciting race.
Is this a situation, since you're going there twice this year, does it affect the way you prepare for this, or do you look to maybe gather up different notes over the course of the day and a half or so you'll be in Iowa this time, knowing you're going to go back there in July and run again?
Yeah, and I'm not 100% sure, but I think the July race is at night, which, we have a lot of practice this time when we go. Look to the schedule. We actually have a practice that's kind of closer to night, which won't help us that much for this race, but we might be able to do some stuff that'll help us when we come back and run the night race. So we do have a lot of practice this time around, and should be able to go through quite a few things and see what makes it better and what makes it worse, and kind of prepare for both races since we do have so much practice this time around.
All right, dude, you've been watching a lot of racing over the last few weeks, and we've seen a lot of things going on, 2 tires, 4 tires, no tires. We've had a few crew chiefs that talked to the driver. Well, we've had a few drivers that talked back and said, I don't want to do that. What are you going to do? Are you one of the guys that's going to do what the crew chief says, or are you going to put a little input into it?
Well, I think you got to do a little of both. At the end of the day, the crew chief does have the final say, and they're able to see things that you aren't by sitting on that pit box. And but there is times where I'm pretty sure, I guess Matt Kenseth kind of persuaded those guys to do 2 tires in the Cup race. And I think every once in a while you got to just, maybe give your crew chief a little confidence that if you do 2 tires that you can, stay up there and you're going to drive it hard as you can to make it worthwhile. So I think you got to do a little bit of both, but, it depends where you're at and how much tires matter, that's for sure.
Only other thing we wanted to ask you about before we let you go, Reed Sorenson with us on the hotline, preparing for Iowa Speedway Sunday afternoon here on Sirius XM NASCAR Radio. Interesting entry list. 44 cars entered at this point for the event out there. So only 1 car will go home. But you've got an awful lot of guys who have very limited Nationwide Series experience. A couple, Daryl Haar, Luis Martinez from the West Series. I've got Austin Dillon, who's only run a few, although he's certainly got a lot of seat time at Iowa in the truck. Does that affect how you think about this event? I mean, this is not your typical Nationwide entry list.
Well, it does a little, but our objectives as a race team are still the same. I mean, no matter who's coming or what's going on, our objective is to run top 5 and put ourselves in position to try to win a race and get as much points as we can for the championship battle. But when you look at races like this, it definitely is a better opportunity for a race team, a nationwide only race team, to win the race and not a Cup affiliated team. So you kind of pay attention to it, but as we prepare for this weekend at the shop and get ready to go, we still do the same things we do every week.
Good deal. All right. Well, listen, all the best this weekend at Iowa. Hope it goes well for you. 10 points off the lead in the Nationwide Series after 11 weeks. Got to put you in a pretty good frame of mind. We wish you well. We'll talk to you next week.
All right. Sounds good. Thanks for having me.
All right. Always a treat. Reed Sorenson drives the 32 car at Turner Motorsports. That is the Dollar General Chevrolet this week. Trent Owens, of course, calls the shots on top of the pit box for that car and that team and that young driver out of the Atlanta, Georgia area. We wish him well this weekend.